Well, I advertised earlier that I would be reviewing the education series, Politics and Power. Of course, for those people who remember, I would have done this program a few years ago as a serial on traditional media. And on occasions, I have made reference to some of the episodes. So I believe I'll do more of that moving forward, where we'll present information to the public with a focus on younger individuals, or generally people who are interested in understanding how the system works. Because I think that will help us very well in the future if more people understand how the system works and their role in making the system work. So we will be more responsible in the actions that we take, and we will be more willing to participate in the civic life of our society, civic engagement. So it is one thing to say to do, and it's another thing to explain to people why they should do. And as such, I will focus on a particular topic on this hour, and the feature will be on changing or unbroken chain of governing authority. It sounds a bit maybe convoluted for you, but when I would have done breaking it down, it should make some sense. I should say welcome to those who are joining me live on the hour at 2 o'clock live on a Sunday. I hope you find the program fun and that you will share the information with your friends and family and colleagues, and that you will share with me as well. You will drop a message under the live, even if I don't get to it today, as I suspect I won't. And I'm not even sure I'm going to do the entire 60 minutes because I am carded to be on with Carlos, and I want to have a little pre-program chat with him before, so I may not do the entire 60 minutes. I will, however, give you enough time because I meet once a week with you to offer you the best that I can offer as my service to my community. So, a very special hi, welcome. Thank you for being here. And as I ask and request of you earlier to share the information that you're getting here, we try to inform people from a middle of the road perspective, a non partisan, non bias and perspective point of view, because I think that is sadly lacking in our communities in the Caribbean and certainly in Dominica. This idea of civic political understanding. And if we did understand our role a bit better, few of us, well, more of us would be willing to share and to express our views on different topics. Too few Dominicans believe that they have the power to speak and to change and to effect things and to cause progress. And the more of us who believe that we have a voice and we can, and it is about us, is the better it's going to be. That's why I'm focusing on a bit more on a bit more educational programs than say coming on here and calling out the ills of society. What is that going to do for society when we all call the ills out? Who's going to take up the mantle of teaching us what it is that we should do? Well, first of all, know and do to cure the ills, because just repeating the ills, and repeating the ills is not really advancing progress. So, politics and power with a focus on authority, the unbreakable chain of governing authority is what we focus on this particular feature. I'm not going to do any preamble per se. I'm just get right into it and leave something with you to think about. What is authority? Different people have different ideas, different notions. I have read several definitions of authority. I don't like working with definitions. I like, or I prefer, to explain the definitions or what can be defined as definitions. There used to be a time when I would love the dictionary and I'd go to learn words and the meaning of words. Well, it is one thing to know the meaning and it's another thing to apply the meaning of words in your lives and in different contexts. So I'm not too sure what definition you're going to get of authority, but I'm going to give an understanding of authority because authority is eternal. Authority did not start now, begin with us. Authority began at a time when authority began, and the ultimate authority, one may argue, is this omnipotent supreme being. If you think the creator is a being, which I don't think, but again, my views are not really important, or my opinions, I think facts are what are important. So I try my best to present facts in the best way that I can. And of course, I may have a little twist or a little understanding of the facts. And whenever I offer opinion, it is based on facts anyway. So I do offer my opinion at times. Not unsolicited most times, but when I do, it is based in or based on facts. So authority has an ontology that is based in a power that is beyond the person, the ordinary, the masses. Although when I explain what power is in a true sense and how we understand it today, it comes from the masses. But authority is that unchangeable attitude or concept that places an individual or people in a position of control of the government, of the governance of people's lives. And how did that start? It started a long time ago. From the beginning of the understanding of civilization, let's go back to Mesopotamia. And people may tend to want to go beyond, but let's begin with Mesopotamia, which was the first sort of established city, state, where the rulers claim authority from the omnipotence, from a divine source, unseen, unheard, but ready and present to sanction the blessings of authority. So initially, authority was claimed by they who understood that this thing can be claimed and used as a sort of divine order. And from the very first time authority was used like this, authority continued to be. Now, yes, this idea of authority would have transformed. It would have changed looks and packaging and sites, but it still remains. So the authority that we have in the Caribbean islands today, in Dominica today, in America today, in Grenada today, in Barbados today, in England today, in Australia, is connected in some way or the other. There are no different type of authorities. All governing authority happens to be connected. So the authority that the government of Dominica has is not independent of the government of Dominica. It is a branch, a tranche, a vein of this mainstream global authority. Government was created at different times, different kinds of government. But every time a governing authority was created, it was created with the spark of this original treasury of authority. And I will say authority a number of times until you get it, because I think you get it. The point I am making is that one cannot divorce themselves from what authority is. As if you in authority. I'm not saying that all authority is authoritative, but authority has an authoritative tendency about it. And it is very easy for one who is an authority to become an authoritative individual. Very, very simple. We will not get into that in that program. I just want you to understand that authority is standard, is constant, is continuum, and whatever authority exists in government in any part of the world, it comes from a line, an unbroken order of global authority. Essentially, therefore, the global community is one. And again, that's another subject that I can expound on a little later on to explain how the international relations work and the order that was created after the Second World War and America's role in that, and the institutions that were created after the Second World War and what they do in maintaining the global order. We will speak about these things in a subsequent program. I want to focus on this thing called authority as a concept, which is constant and continuum. And we have a little tranche of it in Dominica and other little countries or bigger countries. That idea of authority is connected. It's like little bits of the fire that is blazing. So we have authority. And under authority, we can talk about power, we can talk about legitimacy, we can talk about politics. All of these are different terms that cannot be avoided when you speak about authority. So we understand authority as the umbrella organization that envelopes individual actions and kind of manages the life that people live. Power is not a new concept, but it's a concept that has changed. In fact, the face of power and authority look differently from what it was before. Because there was a time that power was derived from divinity, the divine right of kings. That's where power was, that was the source of governing power. Before we have the legitimized power from the people. I'm using another term again, legitimized. So power would be bestowed on kings and other dynasty leaders with the narrative that I am the chosen one. The power that I have comes from God. I am God's embodiment on earth. What I say, God say. And if you go against what I say, you're going against God. And I have honestly heard prime ministers, one in particular said that. I will not call the name of the prime minister, people who know. So I'm just trying to illustrate this thing called divine rights of the king or divine authority. When I say it in the first person, I hope you don't take what I say and suggest that's what I was saying, because you know I'm not in authority in any way, shape, or form. So it will not even make sense. I often wonder what people can do with this artificial intelligence, augmented intelligence. They can do anything. But I know what I say and what I mean to say whenever I say the things that I say. So there are some mischief doers who like to let it appear as if you are saying and doing different things, but it doesn't really matter. So we understand authority, we understand power, which is legitimized by people in the modern epoch. Prior to we understanding that people should transfer the agency to us called power. Power was a thing that was claimed by, I guess, the person who felt that they had the might to claim the power. Because might is another thing. Might is not power. You may be a mighty person, but you may not be in power or a powerful person. Power actually is sanctified by the people, or it is claimed with might. And even if you have might and you have a coup d'etat, your power is not legitimized. Legitimacy is the idea that people believe that you are the duly bona fide elected individual to be in governance of the people. So I'm using several terms because you cannot not use these terms to explain this thing called authority as an unchanging, unbroken chain of governance. And different people who are in government just sort of use the oil of authority to do the work that they have to do. I believe you get it. I hope you get it, because I have tried my very best, my utmost best to break down the terms in the best way that I knew how. So just to recap again, our focus on this program that we call Politics and Power, the education series, was on authority as an unchanging element in society when it comes to governance. There can be authorities in many different ways, but I'm talking about governing authority. And from the time immemorial, since people claimed this thing called authority, there had been the ultimate source of authority being divine, being from the gods or God, or some force that had not been manifested that people claim gave the power. And that is the original source of authority. It has never changed. The notion of authority would have changed complexion, but this light, this fire, this guiding principle called authority is just continuing. So you may say, so did we continue the legacy of colonialism? The answer is no. We did not continue it, well, at least not in the direct form that it was practiced. Some people say we have a new form of colonialism, a new form of slavery, new forms of oppressions. Yes, as much as I believe that, I don't dwell on these because nothing is new under the sun, and we may have purged ourselves from toxic teachings, but that does not mean that those past toxic teachings fail to have effect. I think effect still happens, just not in the magnitude as they did before, but I don't focus on that because it's a fact. Nothing is new under the sun, and the authority that was colonial authority is not the same kind of authority that we have today, but there are vestiges of that authority that will linger on for the foreseeable future. So authority is unchangeable. The complexion of authority might be different, but that thing called authority cannot be made new. You can reform it. You can change how it is applied and how it is explained, but it is, and it is, and it is what it is. And as I said earlier, there are different concepts that help you understand authority. I did so, and I actually did try to explain how the different forms work, like power. Governance itself is the exercise of power, because you may have power and not exercise it, or exercise it in a way that is not in keeping with how you should. So power is one, governance is another, legitimacy is another one. Politics is the process of getting things done, getting into office. And authority is the crowning jewel of all the concepts. Shut sang a song sometime when they have power and authority, they don't care a damn about you and me. That can happen to people in authority because authority can vaguely people, can give you a false notion of concern. You may really think that you care about people and you love people and you're taking care of people, but you are really essentially abusing people. So some people don't understand authority and they misuse power and they legitimize their own self by the illegitimate means of election. And they use politics as a pawn instead of as a process of human engagement. So when you find yourself in that quagmire, authority is like a game, but authority should be an honor. That's why people who are in governance, in governing authority, are referred to honorable. And I call everyone who is in authority honorable, even if they perform in dishonorable ways. The title, the position is one of honor. So I may not call someone Honorable Mr., but I would say the Honorable Prime Minister. I don't think anybody in and of themselves is honorable, but the office is. And that is what authority brings. The prestige, the vestiges, the platform, the seat of honor. I was talking to a politician, because I speak with politicians in high places, and I was speaking to a member of the House of Representatives in Florida. And of course, Florida has a super Republican majority. And the gentleman was saying, Professor Bruno, I look at the opponents sometimes, and they always seem to want to protest. When they want to get things done, they protest. And this man is not a professor, but he understands what I understand about protest. Protest is supposed to be a last means. And if you had not done all you could have done before you protest, you should do what you should have done before you protest. Because when you protest, after protest is something maybe violent, and after that is revolution and revolt. So what this gentleman was saying, which is true based on the theories, instead of those people wasting their time in the sun, protesting, police around them, keeping them at bay, why don't they just arrange a meeting with the representative? Go through their security, whatever it is, go and sit in the office and tell the representative what you want to tell them, because they cannot not see you. Well, maybe he was speaking for America, but I think in Dominica, I'm not too sure they will see you, because I've tried having a meeting with people in government, and it's over 10 years now, and I have not gotten a meeting. But it is expected that the representative would want to see you if you organize a meeting with the representative. They may hear you better or easier if you protest. But I think, based on what this gentleman said, and I think it is true, you get more done when you try to engage. And people may say, what Alex saying, what is he saying? We try to engage when? Just tell me when you try to engage. Show me the letter, show me the proposal, show me the request you made, and let me see the response you got. And then I'll say, okay. But sometimes we may want to engage in an antagonistic way. That's not going to work. People in authority don't like antagonism. So I think the best approach is to try to engage. And if nothing is being done, no matter what you try, no matter what, then we move to a different level. But I think we moved to the protest level too quickly in Dominica. One thing happened today, next day protest. Case in point, the issue with the man in authority, the man called the Attorney General in Dominica. I think he used some unsavory terms to refer to a Dominican woman. And by the time the man said that, the next day protest has been called for. I mean, that's not how it's done. I think the man felt bad because he misspoke. I don't know if he misspoke, but he said things which were not cool. But what about a delegation of women asking to see this man and teach him the things that probably he does not know? Would he say no to the meeting? No, he would have to listen because he already in a tight spot. But was that done? I'm not sure. I think I heard protests. The point I'm making, I'm not dissing anybody in terms of what anybody is doing, but authority has a particular attitude about it. And if you go at authority in a wrong way, you are not going to get the kind of response that you should get, especially in a case where there is a super majority in authority. And in Dominica's case, there's a super majority. In Florida's case, there's a super majority. The better place, the better way to come to that is to say, guys, let's talk and talk, engage, negotiate, agree to disagree. And I think you are more progressive when you do that, especially when you have a super majority. And again, people may say, well, why engage and I can go ahead and protest and cause trouble and have the same effect? Well, fine. But how much success have you had against the authority? So that is where I would like to wrap up. I wouldn't be really getting into the comments that you obviously will be sharing. Because as I said, I wanted to do at least half an hour today. I am like 25, 26 minutes in because I want to end earlier to go join Carlos to do a program with him. And then I have a meeting later today. So I'm sorry, I won't give you the entire hour, but I'm hoping that at least you understood the little reasoning that I make. I use some actual events to make reference to or to explain authority. And whenever I do that, I'm not really casting aspersions or calling people out. It is just that sometimes in life it is necessary to use examples to explain certain concepts, and I have done that on many occasions, and I did it again today. I hope we were able to agree on a number of different things, at least for one, that authority is unchanging and it continues in different forms, and that there are other concepts that accompany this thing called authority. When we best understand those, we can relate to this thing called authority a bit better, especially in a case where there is a super majority in authority, as the case is in Dominica. Barbados as well, they have a super majority. In Florida, they have a supermajority in terms of representatives for a particular party, and other places where there are supermajority. In Antigua, there is not a supermajority, and I think maybe protests can work better there. If let's say people want to go out there and protest, I'm not saying that you should not protest when there's a supermajority. I'm just saying the chances of it succeeding is not very good as when there is a slim majority. But yes, if you think you have the need to protest, go ahead and protest. My advice to you is make sure you have everything organized properly so your protest can be effective. As Mr. Charles Savre said, he's no longer president, so I can say Mr. Charles Savre said the protest is either is either the protest is effective or it is not. There's nothing called a law, legal and illegal protest. People can protest. But if you go into do a protest without permission, you want to make sure that it is effective. So the police wouldn't break your back when they get you. Again, the police should not be doing that. But the authority try to do that when they have super majorities. And that is pretty much the reasoning I wanted to make. I think I made the point, guys. I will see you live from 3 o'clock on the TUD Round the Table. I'm going to have a little discussion with my brother Carlos, and you'll see me live in, I think, the next about 30 minutes. So thank you again for choosing me. I'm sorry to rob you from 30 minutes, but I think we got it in terms of the time. I'll see you next week, Sunday, on the hour for another exciting program. And I think I'm going to continue with the Politics and Power Education series. Take care, guys, and thanks for being here.